Okay, you guys ready? Thank you for coming to the ethics seminar. We've got Hillary with the Better Business Bureau and John who will be presenting. So if you guys, before you leave, make sure you scan out and help me welcome Hillary and John. Hi, I'm Hillary Dean. I'm from the Better Business Bureau here in Southeast Texas. I used to be a Lamar student, just like all of y'all. I graduated in August, and I have done an internship with the Better Business Bureau starting last April, and then went full-time in August when I graduated. So if you haven't done an internship, I highly encourage you to. It was a great experience for me, and it led to a big girl job. So today I'm going to be talking about ethics. How many of you know what ethics are? Can anybody tell me? All of you knew what they were, so what are they?
Values.
Values, okay. Basically, your sense of right and wrong, right? You're in a situation and there's a right answer and a wrong answer. It's your ability, your ability to tell what's right and what's wrong. That's kind of this new program that we started. It's in Pursuit of Ethics. We started it this past fall. It's just to kind of reach out and help younger generations like ours and even younger kind of get to start thinking about those ethical situations now rather than later. We all deal with ethical decisions every day, whether you realize it or not. You deal with it in your personal life, your work life, your family life. There's always some kind of decision to be made. So today, what we have to show you is a couple of videos. These are going to be more of what's going to happen in your workplace. So if many of you probably already have jobs, and you may have seen situations like this, or you may encounter situations like this in the future. So what will happen is you see a situation, and then it's going to pause, and y'all as a group get to make a decision of what's going to happen. So y'all are in charge of the outcome, not me. They're completely randomized, so I don't even know what's going to happen each time we do it. So the first one I'm going to show y'all is the automotive one. This one's about an employee who works for an auto shop, and he notices his boss is doing something illegal. So he's got, to make a decision there of if he's going to make a move on something or not. How many of you have ever heard of the free transmission checks that you can get at auto shops? Anybody have a car? Heard of that? Okay, what happens is, and this is something we get complaints on all the time with BBB, you'll go and you'll take your car, they'll look at it, they'll check it, they'll come back and they'll say, it's not so good, you're going to need a whole new transmission. Well, a whole new transmission is going to cost you, what, $3,000 or $4,000. So you tell them, I don't have that kind of money. And they say, okay, well, it'll be $800 for today. And you say, well, hold up, what happened to the free transmission check? And they're going to tell you, yeah, it was free for us to look at it, but now we've got to put it back together.
That's exactly right. You're right.
And so you tell them, well, I don't have $800 either. And they say, okay, we'll tell you what, we'll cut you a deal. For $200, we'll put all your parts back in a box, and you can tow it out of here. That happens all the time. And the reason they get away with it is they know they can get away with it because you as a consumer don't know anything about cars, maybe. And they typically are going to take advantage of people that are younger, women, elderly people, and it just so happens that you may not have seen the fine print, or they didn't think they needed to tell you that there's labor involved, and that's where they get you. And that's why we're here to help consumers and businesses help make them better decisions. And if you have a problem with an auto repair shop or any business, you can always file a complaint with us, and we're going to help you through that process. So, like I said, today we're going to start with the automotive one, and then I'm also going to show you the one on remodeling. So, start.
Anything else? Not yet. Pretty busy, so I'll let you know. How can we help?
Well, my car seems to jump a little while I'm driving. Like something's slipping.
Right.
So since I bought my tires here, I thought I'd better have you check it over.
could be a dangerous situation. Let's brought it in. Let's get you written up, and then we'll take a look. You got some serious transmission problems. You're probably lucky you didn't get stranded somewhere.
Sounds expensive.
Well, you got some options, so let me go over a range of costs for you. How long are you planning on keeping the car?
I don't know. I was hoping to drive it for 3 or 4 more years.
Okay. Well, a new transmission is going to set you back about $4,000. Yeah, hold on. We can do a reman for $2,500. A rebuilt would be about $1,000, and the used would cost you about $500.
A reman?
Yeah.
What's that? I guess I need your advice.
Sorry. Reman is shop talk for remanufactured transmissions. It's actually got a warranty that's better than the new transmissions. And considering how long you're planning on keeping the car, I really can't see you getting used. You really just be buying somebody else's problems. A reman is very reliable, and it'll work fine for years.
It's not exactly how I choose to spend that much money. Are you sure that's the problem?
Well, you're welcome to take it somewhere else for a second opinion, but I would suggest we have it towed. In all honesty, I wouldn't feel right letting you drive it as it is.
I can't see shelling out more for a tow on top of the repair. Let's just go with the remanufactured transmission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought the customer wanted a remanufactured transmission. This one looks like a cheaper rebuild.
Yeah, I found a cheaper supplier.
Well, we're going to have more complaints if the replacements fail.
Look, Dwayne, I'll handle customer satisfaction. You used to install the parts you're given, okay?
You know it's a cheaper rebuild, don't you? Well, you're going to charge the higher than that price, aren't you?
Dwayne, listen. Either the part's new or it's not. Even the law says that. Look, we have to compete against all these other shops. So we have to keep our prices down as much as possible. The profit margin in this business is thin. If we don't make a profit, we go out of business, and then everyone loses their job. Look at Kate, Charlotte, Mary Ann. You want everyone here to be out of a job?
Well, no, but I don't think it's right.
Wait, buddy. We have to act as a team here. You go back to doing your job, and we'll all have jobs, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so what would y'all do if y'all were in that situation?
I will tell somebody.
We've got 3 choices, sorry. So A, we can say nothing and just go back to work. B, we can report Al to Tony, who's the shop manager. Or C, call the authorities.
Call authorities.
Let's call the manager.
How many would do A? Raise your hand. How many would do B?
I don't know why, because he the one
And
told
how many
him.
would do C?
He the one told him to fault it.
Okay, so most of y'all would report Al to Tony. Now, what could happen if he didn't do anything at all?
It'll keep on going. It'll keep on happening.
Okay, what about B?
He's not gonna do nothing. He already know about it. He the one quoted the man and faulted quote in the first place.
Right, he's reporting him to the shop manager. Isn't it possible that maybe the shop manager knows about it?
Yeah, he know about it.
Maybe. And I mean, what could happen if you do C?
They might come in and do something.
They can investigate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They could not care. They may not have enough, there may not be enough evidence to go off of. So most of y'all said B, so we'll go with you. Let's see what happens. Forgive me, I normally do this for 16-year-olds, so sorry if I said that.
Dwayne, something on your mind? Yeah. Well, Dwayne, you've been with us, what, a year now? I hear good things about you. You never complain. Something's bothering you, you just say so.
This is just between us, right? I mean, I like working here. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I think I might be doing something goofy with replacement parts. I think he's overcharging customers. A couple times he's giving me transmissions that are used, but then charging customers remanufactured prices.
That's a serious allegation. Have you talked to anybody else about this?
Oh, no. I kind of keep to myself.
Wow. Dwayne, I'm glad you came today. Let's keep this conversation between the two of us for now, okay? I'll see what's going on.
Okay.
Alright, so we told him, what do y'all think is going to happen?
They're gonna fire him with this
Maybe get fired, maybe the other guy will get fired. I don't know.
The one that told them to fire.
Hi, Lucy. Home office doesn't let you visit very often. What's up?
Al, we need to see you in my office. Al, overcharging customers is fraud. We've checked back over the records, and I cannot believe what's been going on.
If you paid a decent wage, a guy wouldn't feel he's got to find a way to make ends meet.
If you've been having problems, why didn't you talk to me? You've put this company in a very risky position, and I have no choice but to turn you in. Get him out of here.
Tony, you wanted to see him?
Dwayne, yeah, come in. Close the door. I wanted to thank you for pointing out that part swap to me. A lot of people would have just kept their mouths shut. But your ethical decision helped us stop a problem that, frankly, could have put us out of business. Boy, you think you know somebody. Something like this happens. Anyway, I'm going to need a new shop manager. I want you to think about taking the job. You've proven I can trust you. And that's very important to me. All right, let me tell you what it entails.
Okay, so that was a good ending, right? You get the promotion out of it. Do you think things like that really happen?
No, not all the time.
You don't think like things like this happen?
I do think some things happen.
Well, did you notice how Al said if you paid me a decent wage, I wouldn't have had to feel like I had to do this to make ends meet? Do you think that sometimes our personal lives, maybe our financial issues, kind of interfere with our decisions that we make at work?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and sometimes we may do things that we wouldn't have normally done. If you're struggling at home and you see an opportunity to make some extra money, and even though it may not be the right thing to do, if you get away with it, it's okay, right?
Wrong.
Because it'll always catch up with you, right?
It's exactly right.
It may not catch up with you right now, but eventually it will.
Just a couple of things. For a lot of people in our society, ethics for them is what we call situation-based. Depends on the situation. And usually when they say that, they mean it depends on what's going to benefit me. That's the situation. What's going to benefit me? So a lot of people, and you know this, a lot of people look at that situation. Hey, I've been there about a year. I got a job. I'm starting to make money. I don't want to mess it up. I want to fit in. I don't want to stand out, and be the crusader here and tell them they're doing something wrong. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, keep my job, try to keep getting a paycheck. Because a lot of people would think about that and say, you know what? If I turn in my shop foreman and the manager's involved in it, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to be out of a job. I'm not going to get promoted. They're going to fire me. And then what would that do? See, that situation-based ethics. That means what will benefit me. Ethics, not situation-based, but ethics is about what is the right thing to do. Not right because it's going to benefit me, but the right thing to do. Again, some people would start to think, well, now what's going to happen? What's probably going to happen? Well, I don't know the shop foreman or the manager, so if I turn him in, I might get fired. So, probably the safest thing, again for me, situation-based, is to keep my mouth shut. Well, here's what can happen. And we've seen this happen at the BBB. or through situations that have come to our attention. Tony, or the young man, doesn't say anything. And it goes on. Because it will go on if he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything. And then later, it comes out that this has been going on for months. But then guess what happens? It's also found out that he knew about it.
He's going to get fired.
And he's known about it all that time. Not only is he going to get fired, he could go to jail. Because he was complicit. Because why? Because he knew about it and didn't say anything. That is a very real thing that can happen. Ethics, a lot of times, I'll give you a real short example and let Hillary go on. She does a great job. A lot of times in life, we want to think that ethical decisions are going to come down, the heavens are going to part, the angels will sing, and the heavens will tell us, this is a big decision. This could change your life. But that's not what happens, is it? It's every day making decisions about what's right and what's wrong. And let me give you an example. Give you a name. You tell me what this person was involved with or what this person did. Lance Armstrong. Steroids. Performance-enhancing drugs. Won 7 Tour de France's, hardest bike race in the world to win. An amazing athlete. A huge model for many, many young people. And for years, he had denied using performance-enhancing drugs. Anyone who said anything against him or tried to say, hey, he's taking these drugs, he would sue them, he would attack them, he would destroy them. Now,
And win.
And it kept going until the evidence got too large against him. Let me tell you about generally what happens, and you know this too. Most of the greatest failures in life are what we call moral and ethical failures. They're not because somebody made a mistake or because somebody did the wrong thing one time. They are moral and ethical failures. Those are the biggest failures in life. And it happens this way. I will bet, and nobody else would think this, nobody starts out one day and says, here I am, you know what? I'm going to win 7 Tour de France's and I'm going to defraud the entire world for the next 15 years. That's crazy. Nobody thinks that. But how does it happen? It happens because we start here and we make a small decision. You know what? If I'm going to really compete and be really good, I got to have an advantage. I mean, everybody else is taking them. I need to too. So we do this, right?
Everybody else.
We take a step. And we win the Tour de France. But there are questions. Man, I don't know. I think he's taking drugs. So we start to attack those people. We take another step. We don't end up way over there in the beginning. We take some small steps. You see, ethics is what we call on a continuum. Every decision you make about ethics makes you either more ethical or less ethical. One way or the other. And what happens is that in, like a Lance Armstrong case, he wakes up one day and he finds himself way over here. And now his whole career, his whole Live Strong campaign, his cancer fighting research, all these people who believe in him, now it's too big. Now he can't say, I cheated. He's got to continue the lie because it's too big now. I can't go back. And that's what happens. A lot of times, people find themselves way over here because of a series of steps, and there's no way they can get back. See? That's what happens. One more quick story that's relevant. Visited with my nephew when I was out in Phoenix at a conference, and he is a lieutenant in the Air Force, flies F-16s. He's in training, young man, great man. But he said that most of his time, they do some flights, they do some training, some actual flight time, but most of their time is spent on debrief and pre-brief. And when they find that they're in a dogfight or whatever the case is, and that a mistake was made, and he also says this, all crashes that happen with the Air Force or any other flight is not because of one mistake. It's because of a series of choices that got them in that position. So when they debrief and they say, you know what, you lost this dogfight, not because you made one mistake, but because here you did this instead of this, so that puts you here. And then you made this move instead of this move, so that puts you here. Mm-hmm. So after all those choices, there was one final mistake that you couldn't recover from. Mm-hmm. Not because of one choice, but because of a series of choices. What we're trying to get you to think about with the young people that we talk about in high schools and things like that is life is a series of choices. Generally, one decision is not going to make your life or ruin your life. But every decision makes you more ethical or less ethical. And what happens to people is sometimes they wake up and they can't believe where they are.
That's good, sir.
They pay me to do this.
Okay, so now that we've kind of watched one outcome, we can go back and we can watch another one. So what would y'all like to see?
Watch another.
My clothes.
He does the same thing? Okay, or call the authorities. Does anybody want to do that? Yeah. Okay. Let's do it out.
Hey, I gotta go to my car for a second.
Federal Bureau of Investigation, can I help you?
Yeah. I wanted to report some illegal business practices. My boss, he's selling these car parts and charging remanufactured prices.
That sounds like something that would be more for your local police. Let me ask you a couple of questions, sir. How much money would you think is involved in this?
10 grand, please.
10 grand, huh? Okay, sir. Are there any other states or perhaps businesses or vehicles from other states that may be involved in this transaction?
Well, I know at least one of the suppliers is from across the state line. Look, if my boss finds out I called you, he'll go ballistic.
Yeah. Well, sir, I can assure you that the FBI can keep quiet about this type of thing, and any additional information you can provide could be very helpful to us.
All right. Please call the FBI.
Hi, Lucy. Home office doesn't let you visit very often. What's up?
Al, we need to see you in my office. Al, overcharging customers is fraud. We've checked back over the records, and I cannot believe what's been going on.
If you paid a decent wage, a guy wouldn't feel he's got to find a way to make ends meet.
If you've been having problems, why didn't you talk to me? You've put this company in a very risky position, and I have no choice but to turn you in. Get him out of here.
Tony, you wanted to see me?
Glenn, yeah, come in. Close the door. I wanted to thank you for pointing out that part swap to me. A lot of people would have just kept their mouths shut. Your ethical decision helped us stop a problem that, frankly, could have put us out of business. Boy, you think you know somebody. Something like this happens. Anyway, I'm going to need a new shop manager, and I want you to think about taking the job. You've proven I can trust you, and that's very important to me. All right, let me tell you what it entails.
Okay, so the same thing happened, right?
I think that didn't work out too good.
You don't think that worked out?
Well, I mean, the video didn't make much sense because he didn't tell him. He told you. He skipped that chain of command.
Yeah.
So,
Well, but as we saw, the guy got caught and got fired. But there is another instance, and I can't manipulate to make it do it. But if we chose to report Tony to Al like we did in the beginning, there's another thing that could happen. Well, he brings him into his office and he says, "Look, I talked to him. Just some forms were filled out wrong. No big deal. But here's some money. It's a spot-on bonus. Why don't we just keep this quiet?" What is that?
That's bribery.
Right. Right. So he's offering him this bribe. Now you've got this choice to make. Okay, do I still not say anything about this? Do I accept the money, or do I just, decline it, not accept it? What would y'all do?
Still gonna tell on me.
How many would take the money? And how many would decline the money?
I wouldn't.
Okay, and how many would just not, just nothing?
Because if he get caught, you in it too. You involved.
What do you think could happen if he accepts the money, though?
They're going to get caught anyway.
He's gonna get caught and be
If they get caught later, he's going to jail also.
Sure deal.
Here's a follow-up
I'm
question.
not going to jail for nobody.
For how many of you would it depend on how much money it was? That's what I thought. Again, that's called situation-based ethics.
I might have to raise my hand on that one too.
How much?
And unfortunately, the option of accepting the money and then calling the authorities isn't, that's not an option. But then high school kids do think of that. So, he can either accept the money, yes.
What kind of manager he would be if he doesn't know what's happening in his own organization? Like, he would definitely be a part of it if something's happening at this. He leads his own team, so he would definitely know what's happening.
Right.
So I think third option is the best option you got in there.
The third option? Yeah.
Calling authority.
Yeah. I think so too. But then again, you know, the authorities may still not do anything about it. But you never know. So, but if he's, okay, we'll go back to he's offered the bribe. He could accept the money, decline the money, or call the authorities then. So, what we all want to see.
Let's go to the one. Take the money.
If you take the money.
Let's see who takes the money. Okay, let's do that.
Wow. This is $500. I'm not messing with you.
I knew you were a smart guy, Dwayne. Hey, let me get Alan here. He can start on your education. How's it feel to start moving up?
He's really in high school, so that's a lot of money.
Hey, Dwayne, you get to stopping point, stop into my office for a minute, okay?
You got some more
Come
money
in,
for me?
Dwayne. Close the door. Dwayne, we've been getting a lot of complaints about vehicles you've worked on breaking down or needing additional repairs. I can't keep losing money in customers like this. You're fired.
Fired? It's not my fault. I just started parts like Al told me to. He's been scamming people with parts that...
Whoa, you keep your mouth shut, Dwayne, and we'll sue you for slander. And if you badmouth us, we'll fix it so you never get another job in this city. Now get your stuff and get out of here.
Oh, you should have
So he
took
loses
that
his
money.
job. So was it worth that $500?
No.
I mean, now he's guilty. He took money, he knew what was going on, and so it's easy for them to just blame him. Do you think things like that happen?
Yep.
Yeah, they do.
Got a bunch
And
of
you
phones.
may not ever encounter that, but those things do happen. And if you did encounter that, hopefully you will make the right decision now. Okay, so the next one we're going to watch is the remodeling one. This is going to be more from the actual business person's perspective rather than the employee. And someone who's got to make a decision about his business. He's got this account. It's really, the guy is very, detail-oriented. He is demanding a lot out of the guy that's doing the remodeling for him, and wants to get the costs down. But the guy that owns the company, he's trying to make good decisions and not do quality work and not cut his quality for cost. So we're going to see the decisions that he has to make there.
I can definitely tell that a lot of extra time never was put into your home. This is impressive.
Well, I won't settle for cheap. I get the best for what I spend.
Our company's goal is always to get our customer the best quality for the best value. All right. Looks like we're going to be adding on a 15 by 18 room with one entrance door, French doors to the garden, skylight to match this room, tile floors, and 6 floor-to-ceiling windows. Looks like I have all the information I need. Let me meet with my partner and we'll work up the estimate.
Well, I want you to know I have 2 other firms that are bidding on this job. So don't think you can charge me just any price.
We couldn't stay in business unless we compete. And we won't compromise on quality either. Don't worry, I think you'll be very happy with our proposal and our design.
And if I'm not, you won't get the job.
Hey.
Hi. Are you coming home tonight?
Oh, yeah. What time is it? I'm sorry. We're just working on this proposal for this really tough client.
We're supposed to look at the drapes for the nursery tonight, remember?
Oh. Sorry, sweets. Look, can we do it later? I've got to get this proposal worked out.
Well, just remember, we can't tell the baby to come any later. I don't want to be painting between feedings and diaper changes.
I know. But if I don't get this proposal locked down, we're not going to be able to afford diapers.
I love you too. I'm talking to Dad on the phone.
I'm sorry, babes. You know I want what's best for you and our family. Look, I'll be home as soon as I can, okay?
How the meeting at Willow Hempshire Estates go?
Tough sell, man. I mean, just because he has money doesn't mean he wants to spend it.
Yeah, that's why they have money. But if we can get one good job in that neighborhood, we could really start lining up the contracts. I mean, that's what, 97 lots in Willow Hempshire?
I just need to figure out how we can do the job and make a profit. These margins are really tight, man. We're up against some of the big guns in town, too.
Yeah. And I'm sure our friend Zach is probably snooping around, too. Look, quit your crying. You're just after money for your baby's room. Just start pushing our suppliers for better deals. If we can get this job, we'll be in the perfect position to get more jobs in Willow Hempshire. And then we'll all get rich.
Oh, yeah, thanks. There's no pressure there. I really had to search to find materials that match what you have here, but I think we found them, and we can match your interior designs, and I've got the cost down, so once you sign, we can get started.
Now, this is a good beginning price, but you're going to have to do better.
With all due respect, I had to almost threaten my suppliers to get the price that low. The timeline's short. I had to call Europe for the terracotta.
Wait a minute. What do you mean, almost had to threaten them? That means they gave something, and they're still making a comfortable profit. Kick them in the ass. Do better, or you're out of the running for the job. I'll give you 2 days to get back to me with your final offer. Clear?
Yes, sir. I'll do what I can. Well, it wasn't easy, but I turned everything as close to the bone as I could.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't think we're going to be able to do business. This estimate is still way too high.
We went over all the costs of the fine-tooth comb. To give you what you want and make sure it's installed to the standards you expect, I can't do it for less. You said you don't compromise on quality. I won't either. I will protect our company's name.
With estimates like this, you're going to have out of business at the end of your
I can't stay in business doing jobs at a loss.
Look, I own businesses and I've sold businesses. Many of them. And a lot of times you have to take a loss at first just to get more jobs.
Yeah,
and if you can't understand that, you're not going to make it.
Fine, I'll come up with something.
Well, you better make it fast because your competitor is coming over in the morning.
All right. Do you think that there's consumers like that, customers
Yeah.
like that? Especially when it comes to things like that, because they don't want to.
They want something for nothing.
So, what should you do? Move A, spread this cost of the materials to other remodeling projects. B, you can stick to his final bid, or C, you can substitute lower quality materials.
I'm going with B. I'm going with B.
How many for A? Nobody? B? And C? Just a few. Okay, what can happen if he chooses A? You're spreading the cost of materials on other projects. What are you doing?
You losing money.
But what are you doing to other customers?
Oh, you're charging them more.
You're charging them for things that they didn't pay for.
That's exactly right.
And that's what? Illegal?
That's illegal. And so is C.
Okay, so what about C?
You losing money?
He's putting lower quality materials and labor.
You're cheating on quality.
You're cheating.
It may not
cheating
last.
what they paying for.
And
The reputation.
right? Ruin his reputation. A lot of bad practices go to that. So most of y'all are saying C, B, stick to the final bid.
Yeah.
Even though you might lose the job?
Yes.
Stick to the final bid.
Why would you want to work for somebody like that anyways?
Do you think he's right though, saying, well, you got to take losses to make something, right?
No.
No, that's not true.
You played that one out well, Jason. I've done a lot of negotiating in my day, and I was pushing you to the wall, and you stuck with your ethics. You're going to do very well in your business. When can you start?
I booked my Christmas fair Monday.
That's good.
That's sure you were going to get the job, huh?
No, I just don't like to keep my customers waiting.
Good.
So it was all a test.
And that's a really, really good outcome. You're in college, you're going to start working, maybe you're already working now. But I'm going to be real honest with you. Don't think that a situation like that's not going to occur for you, because people you work for, Beaumont is big, but Beaumont's small. Beaumont's very relational.
Surely is.
There are some people in this community who are very influential, and you know that.
Yep.
A business owner, I'm not saying it's going to happen to you, but it could. A business owner could come to you because you're working for them and say, do you know so-and-so that you're going to call next week about this account? Yes, sir. Are you prepared? Yes. Well, let me help you understand. He is very influential. If we get his business, that's going to lead to a ton of other business because of his comments, because of his, maybe his good word or whatever the case is. So, I want you to do whatever you have to do to get the job. What does that mean?
I mean, sell your soul.
Well, does she work for the BDD? You've got it down. You've got it down. But don't think that that doesn't happen in companies. And you're not in control. And someone is telling you, I want you to get the job. I don't care what it costs. Well, now we got an ethical problem. You see? Are we going to do the job right? Are we going to use the right materials? Are we going to pay what we're supposed to pay? Or are we going to start cutting corners and whatever we have to do to get the job? Because some people say, well, that's not really the right thing to do, but here's how people justify this. If I get this job, and that leads to a ton of other jobs, then what happens? Man, we all win. We're all making money. Is it the situation-based ethics? Is it the right thing to do, or is it the right thing to do because it's going to benefit me in the long run? Those are the questions you have to ask. And again, this is training. You've got to train yourself to think this way. Because as people, as individuals, we are basically selfish.
That's exactly right.
We feel like I'm in church, man. That's good. But people basically are. I mean, we are self-interested. We want to do what's going to benefit us, what's going to help us, what's going to get us further down the road. Ethics is not always easy. And another thing to point out is ethics takes courage. At times, ethics is not going to work out at that moment in your best interest. One thing we have not talked about is, how do you feel about yourself? Okay? And making the right decision, doing the right thing, is part of your self-esteem. And about how you feel about yourself.
Okay. So y'all are all making the right decisions, and I don't like that. Not interesting. Which one do y'all want to see? Spread the cost on other projects, or substitute materials and labor for cheaper?
Substitute the labor.
Okay, substitute. Spread cost. Okay, substitute
Hey, I'll pop in there, right? Jack? How's it going?
Hey, sir. Is Mr. Fixie here to get hammered?
Where's the partner?
He's back at the office, finishing up some paperwork.
So, how's business? How's the biz?
Oh, good. Yeah, I got a big proposal up in Willow, Hampshire.
Big time, big money, huh?
Yeah, if I can close the deal. This guy's really beating me up on price. Now, I know if I can cut the overhead, I can get this deal closed, but I know you used to have some people that could work cheap for cash.
Maybe I could hook you up. Does Matt know about this?
No, Matt's on a need-to-know basis. He trusts me, but he doesn't need to know everything.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know a few people, but I'm gonna need a little cash up front.
Yeah.
You're gonna need some supplies, possibly plywoods, maybe some hardware.
Yeah, maybe. You got a supplier?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I know we're gonna have
Well, this is better, but I still think you're gouging me. And I expect this job to be done right and on time.
We'll do the best we can.
You're damn right you will, or I'll stop payment.
Hey! Well, did you get the contract?
I signed him.
So, no cartwheels, no balloons.
Alright, so he's got the material and the labor for cheap. And this is his partner. They're in business together. Do y'all think he should tell him about it or not?
Don't.
Yeah, tell him.
Turning to the dark side.
Oh, there goes another lie. Right, huh, sir? Farther away from where he started.
We're going to choose don't tell, but what, in all honesty, would y'all tell him?
I'll tell him. I would.
You've already made a bad decision, so should you tell him or
You might as well
No,
tell him. He wanted to push you in the
Telling him might put him a little bit closer back.
But he doesn't know what hurt him, right?
Right.
If you don't, it's going to put him back in the just like he said.
So, no cartwheels, no balloons.
I was just waiting for the marching band to get here.
My man.
Yeah.
I knew you'd get it. Thank you, boy. Okay, so, order crews, order material.
Oh, look, we gotta call Jason.
What the hell's Jacob gonna do?
You guys don't have a license or insurance. The hospital's gonna ask about that, stupid. Yeah, we'll answer it out here.
Damn it. Look, just try to stop the bleeding. I'll be right there, okay?
Incompetent, sloppy work, over budget. Hell, my 10-year-old grandson could do a better remodeling job. As far as I'm concerned, the next building they'll be doing is their legal defense. Oh, yeah, I got Epstein and his law firm sharpening up their swords. You know me, I love to win.
Alright, so that didn't turn out so great, did it?
No.
Do you think that would happen? That would be my luck. I'd make that decision.
Sure could. And another thing we talked about, one of the choices was to, just make this bid really low so I get this job, and then we're going to spread the cost out to other jobs, other consumers. Here's, again, one lie leads to another. Because we see this at the Better Business Bureau. He puts together a bid for a certain room, using certain material, certain length of time, here's what it costs. And then he goes across town and bids a very similar job. But he can't bid it for the same amount. He's got to bid it for more to make up his loss. He said, well, gee, this guy's not going to know. This guy's a lot easier than the last guy I talked with. I'm going to bump up the price a little bit. Sure enough, and it happens all the time, Consumer B talks with Consumer A. He says, man, what is this? You bid the same job for me for more money than this job. So what is that? It either costs this or it costs that. Now you've got a problem. And that's where we get complaints at the Better Business Bureau. And what often happens, we often get in the most trouble in life, I think, when our actions are inconsistent. We did one thing one day and then we did something else a different day. A job either costs this or it costs that. It's not based on the day or how you feel.
It's based on what
a real well-known case among the Better Business Bureau is a place called Just Brakes. Just Brakes, you may have heard the commercials, and they talk about, how for 4 wheels you can get it for $99.95, right? $99.95, all 4 wheels. How do you do that? Well, it's because we care about you. And I'm not trying to judge the people, but federal government came in and challenged them, and the BBB is about advertising. It's about truth in advertising. You do what you say you're going to do. You either do it or you don't. 4 wheels, $99.95. Guess what? Federal government asked them, okay, so if you're advertising for all 4 wheels for $99.95, then let's see the receipts. Because clearly, if it's 4 wheels for $99.95 in the last 6 months, clearly there are some people that would have to have gotten it for that amount, right? That makes sense.
Right.
Guess what? 0 got it for that price. Because they can't. They can't do it for that amount of money. Guess what happens?
And make a profit.
People go in there, well, the base price is $99.95. But for your car, the brakes are this much. And then there's the replacement. And then there's the warranty. And then there's the this. So it ends up being $200 or $300. But they could not prove that anybody got it for $99.95. That is false advertising. And in fact, we can call that a bait and switch. Because they're advertising what? They're getting consumers in because that's a great deal. Man, I want that. I want that. They come in and nobody gets it. That's unethical. One more story. Let Hillary finish up. This was a complaint. This was a company when I worked for the BBB in Fort Worth, and this is an honest, actual occurrence. We had a used car company that we kept getting a lot of complaints about. Just a lot of complaints. More so than normal. And sometimes used car companies get a lot of complaints. But we thought, what's going on? It was just more than normal. And consumers kept saying, man, it's bait and switch. They're not telling me the truth. And we thought, what is going on? So we looked at their website. And they sold cars over the internet. That was a big part of their sales. On their website, they had a lot of cars, pictures, details, and they were great prices. And then we went to the bottom of the page in fine print. Here's what it said. Please call for availability. Vehicles pictured on this website are not removed from the website until they are paid in full. What does that mean? That means that you go down to buy a car, you finance it through the company, you've been paying on it for 4 years. Guess where the picture of your car is? On the website for sale. You can't do that. That's not a good faith offer to sell. So we had consumers who were down at the lot, looking at the website on their phone, saying, I want to see the 2005 F-150 truck for whatever price. Yes, sir, come on down, we got it. Well, no, they don't have it because you bought it. So consumers ask them, man, you can't advertise a car you don't have for sale. Well, I know that, but that's how we get consumers in. And they have complaints, imagine that, because it's unethical. That's what we're talking about. But they justified it because consumers came in and, hey, if they didn't buy that car, well, that just got sold. But we have this car we can sell. The used car licensing company came in and shut them down. That's what happens when you do things that are unethical.
Okay. That's all the videos I have for y'all today. I don't really have any more to add. John always has great examples, better than I. But I didn't ask y'all at the beginning, how many of y'all have ever heard of the Better Business Bureau? Good majority of you, okay. Does anyone know what we do? We kind of touched on it a little bit. We deal with complaints, we deal with advertising. That's the gist of what we do. You have a complaint as a consumer, you come to the Better Business Bureau, you file it, you send it to the business, and we get that response, or we try to. We try to meet your desired resolution. That's even just a small part of what we do. We do advertising review. We investigate businesses. We vet new businesses that want to become accredited businesses. We don't have members, we have accredited businesses because they have to meet our standards. They don't just pay to be a part. They meet the standards of the Better Business Bureau. And you know that when you do business with them, you're doing business with someone that's going to treat you right, they're going to take care of you if you have a problem, and they do business the ethical way. We also keep records on all businesses in Southeast Texas, accredited or not. So if you have a question about somebody you want to have work on your car, or do housework, or even if you're looking for a job, and you want to know if a company is accredited or not, or if they have a lot of complaints, or maybe even a government action on their record, you can access our information online, or you can call us, and we even have an app for the iPhone, so you could download that and get all that information straight to your phone. There's tons of information that we can offer you. We can't ever tell you what decision to make, but we can certainly give you that information and help you make a better decision as a consumer. So we do a lot for consumers, we do a lot for businesses. We have events all throughout the year. One of our consumer events is our Shred It and Forget It. We do that twice a year. Y'all may have heard of it. We do one at Central Mall, and we do one at Parkdale Mall. It's a free service. You can bring out all of your personal documents like bills or receipts, invoices, anything that has your social security number, anything like that. You can bring it out and we'll shred it for completely free. And we do that to prevent identity theft because there are a lot of people that are victims of identity theft every year, mostly young people like y'all in college and elderly people. So that's just a step that we offer for y'all to protect you from that happening. So we do a whole lot, and we're here for y'all. So if you ever have a question about a business, don't hesitate to call or access that information online. And thank you very much.